very less of spinal nerve when we study the spinal cord. Here, at first read the half of page about spinal nerves. After that, intercostal nerves, and after that, cervical plexus. The spinal nerves you will read at first because for you is important to understand how the cervical plexus is formed and what are intercostal nerves, because this is not whole nerve, this is only its anterior branch. Did you understand?
Yes.
Okay. Listen to me. Today is thoracic aorta. Yes? You can see this is descending thoracic aorta. It comes to the diaphragm, perforates diaphragm, passes below, and here it is called the abdominal aorta. When it comes below, says the diaphragm. Aorta, it gives two groups of the branches. Parietal branches to the walls. Thoracic cavity has the costal walls and the diaphragmatic wall, because parietal branches will go to the diaphragm and to the intercostal spaces. You can see aorta goes below, and the all parietal branches they appear right and left. Did you understand? The left branches they will go directly into the intercostal spaces. The right branches, do you see? They cross vertebral column. Do you see? 1, 2, 3, next, do you see? Black color, this is vein, gray color, this is artery. You can see vein, and here is artery. Do you see? Here is, do you see, vein, here is artery. They go together. But the right branches cross the vertebral column and come into the intercostal spaces. Listen to me. Each artery, before visit into the intercostal space, do you remember last material? Yeah. It gives spinal branch inside into the vertebral canal. This will be helping branches for the blood supply of the spinal cord and bringing blood into the general, spinal anterior and spinal posterior. We have 12 ribs. Between 12 ribs, we have 11 intercostal spaces. Thoracic aorta gives 10 branches. 10 branches. Listen to me. If you remember, these arteries are called intercostal posterior arteries. And by last time, from costo-cervical trunk, we supplied the first and second spaces. 11 minus 2 will be 9. But thoracic aorta gives 10 branches. The lower last branch is placed below than the 12th rib is called subcostal artery. Did you understand? You can see these intercostal posterior arteries, do you see, third, fourth, fifth, sixth will come and will anastomosis, do you see, with third, fourth, fifth, sixth, intercostal anterior from thoracic internal artery. Another artery is, they come below than the thoracic arc and the anastomosis with branches of the epigastric superior artery. Did you understand? Also, if you remember, by last time I said you, diaphragm, it starts from ribs, by costal part, from sternum by sternum, by lumbar part, from lumbar vertebrae. When the diaphragm starts from lower 6 ribs, do you see, from intercostal spaces into the diaphragm will enter phrenic branches. What we know from last lesson and from this material, the diaphragm took cardiac-phrenic artery, do you remember? Right and left, muscular phrenic artery. From intercostal posterior lower arteries will take phrenic branches. And also, when the thoracic aorta comes to the diaphragm here, near the diaphragm through the short distance, it gives the branches, phrenic superior branches. And for the finishing of the blood supply of the diaphragm, I will go so in front of abdominal aorta, continues below, and by short distance gives opposite branches. They are called phrenic inferior. You can see diaphragm is very biggest muscular organ. It is very modern at first. Another, it is very important. Inspiration, expiration, inspiration, expiration. It has the very best blood supply. It got the blood by phrenic superior, phrenic inferior arteries. The superior start from thoracic aorta and inferior from abdominal aorta. You can see these branches are general. Why? From aorta, by short distance, enter into the diaphragm and subdivide. Do you see? And in the aorta, do you see the velocity and pressure is bigger than in the distal subdivisions? All another. Pericardiac phrenic, muscular phrenic, phrenic branches from intercostal posterior, they will be helping. Why? Because, for example, on the left side, from aorta begins subclavian artery. From subclavian artery begins thoracic internal. From thoracic internal, pericardiac phrenic or muscular phrenic. Did you understand? The distal division and diameter distally decreases, and the velocity of the blood is lesser, and portion of the blood is lesser. And you can see these all arteries anastomosis. How many arteries supply the diaphragm? No? So correctly. 10, because they are pair. Right and left. Did you understand? Did you understand? You can see these are only two groups of the parietal branches. Intercostal posterior and phrenic superior. Did you understand? These are parietal branches of the thoracic aorta. All another, these are the distal subdivisions. Do you see? Visceral branches. You can see this is aorta. Do you see? This is, do you see, esophagus? Do you see? By norm, esophagus goes along of the aorta joins to it. It gives esophageal arteries. The number of which can be 4, can be 5, can be more. Very often 4 or 5 esophageal arteries. The esophageal arteries, they come to the esophagus by very short distance and subdivide and do the arterial net around of the esophagus. This arterial net continues above. And do remember, in the cervical region, in the production of this arterial net takes part what artery? Cervical esophageal artery from thyroid inferior. Do you remember? In the abdominal region, to the abdominal region of the esophagus will come abdominal esophageal artery from gastric left artery, which is artery of the celiac trunk from abdominal aorta. In the abdominal region is supplied by distal division of the abdominal aorta. Do you see? Thoracic region, very general branches because they directly come from aorta into the esophagus. In the cervical region will come blood from thyroid superior. But this is common net. If anywhere the artery will be pressed, for example, by tumor of the mediastinum, from upper and from lower into this common net, the blood will come. Did you understand? You can see esophageal arteries. Look this here. Here you can see the left lung. You can see what is it. This is root of the lung. Do you see? Into the root of the lung, for the blood supply of the lungs tissue comes what artery? What artery? Not into the lungs. Not pulmonary. If you remember, pulmonary trunk exits from right ventricle, divides into 2 pulmonary arteries which bring the blood into the lungs for the changing of the gases. After changing of the gases, the oxygenated blood by 4 pulmonary veins, 2 from right, 2 from left lungs, will come into the left atrium. This is beginning of the pulmonary circulation, pulmonary cycle, and this is the end of the pulmonary cycle. This is functional cycle. Did you understand? But the lungs can work, can produce this function if the tissue of the lung takes the blood. the blood brings the things for the nutrition of the lung tissue, the oxygen takes out the dioxygen and things from metabolism will exit by veins. And these arteries and veins for the blood supply of the lung tissue, for the drainage, they are called bronchial veins. Bronchial veins. And bronchial arteries. Bronchial arteries will bring oxygenated blood for the lung tissue. Bronchial veins will take out deoxygenated blood. Look please here, this is heart. Look please here, this is pocket of the heart which is called what? Pericardium. Look please here, by posterior side pericardium joins to the aorta. And when the pericardium joins to the aorta, aorta gives the pericardiac artery. Listen to me. Pericardium is house for the heart. Heart every time contracts, relaxes, contracts, relaxes. Do you see? And in the pericardiac space is placed fluid which decreases the friction. And for the production of the optimal portion of the fluid, pericardium must have very best blood supply. Because pericardiac artery from aorta will be general. Through the short distance, straightly from aorta the blood comes. But inside in the pericardium, it will anastomosis with pericardiacophrenic artery from thoracic internal artery. Pericardiacophrenic right and left, and pericardiac artery from thoracic aorta. They will do anastomosis in the wall, do you see, in the pocket, in the pericardium. Do you see? You can see. Another, here, the all organs which are placed, now you are clever, incorrect description between lungs, but do you remember we have two sagittal plates, do you remember? Internal layer from pleural, do you see, near the lateral border of the sternum separates and goes to the root. Near the lateral side of the vertebral column separates and goes from back to the root. And these, do you see, two sagittal pleuras, they are called mediastinal pleuras. They are organs which are placed between mediastinal pleuras, they are called mediastinal. Or collection of the organs between mediastinal pleural is mediastinum. Do you see? Mediastinum divides into the anterior and posterior. If you remember, between anterior and posterior mediastinum, we don't have concrete material, concrete object. This plane is placed only in our consciousness and it passes through the posterior side of the roots of the lungs. But anterior mediastinum subdivides into the inferior and superior. Inferior includes heart and pericardium. Heart was supplied by ascending aorta. Pericardium now was supplied yet by three arteries. Do you see? And another objects of the mediastinum, they are supplied by mediastinal arteries, which start from aorta. What are mediastinal arteries? For your understanding. For example, inferior vena cava, the tube organ. This is vessel, but tube organ. Its wall is supplied because into the wall of the inferior vena cava will come the artery. For example, phrenic nerve or vagus nerve, it is covered by sheets, coats, do you see? And into the sheets, into the coats of this nerve will come the arteries. In the thoracic cavity, in the mediastinum, we have many lymphatic nodes. To them will come mediastinal branches. Here we have thoracic lymphatic duct, mediastinal branches. To the all objects will come branch, which will be concretely for these objects, but together they are called mediastinal. Did you understand? You can see these are visceral branches of the thoracic aorta. Esophageal arteries, bronchial arteries, pericardiac artery, and mediastinal arteries. That's all. This is whole thoracic aorta. Did you understand? Next time, after my explanation of the nerve system, I will ask you to find anastomosis. About some of them today I said you. Do you remember? Intercostal, diaphragmatic, do you remember? Pericardiac, and another. Today we finished the blood supply of the walls and organs of the thoracic cavity. Did you understand? And for today, we supplied head, we supplied neck, we supplied walls and thoracic cavity, walls of thoracic cavity and organs. We will not speak about upper limb because we didn't study its concrete. We said only subclavian artery by its distal continuation will come to the upper limb. About it we will speak later, before finishing of our study. Listen to me. In our organism, next Tuesday I will explain you, we have two general veins and one helping general vein. Two general veins, the concrete general veins, why? By aorta we gave blood to the all tissues of the all systems. Two general veins, they are called general why? They return blood into the heart. Do you see? They are last wide veins which are a result of the collection of the lesser veins. Do you see? Which came from all objects. You can see. Today we will speak about superior vena cava. Why? Because the all objects which we supply, they will give deoxygenated blood by last way through the superior vena cava into the right atrium. You can see, this is superior vena cava. Do you see? This is superior vena cava. Superior vena cava is formed by collection of three roots. Three roots collect into it. You can see brachiocephalic right vein, brachiocephalic left vein. Brachiocephalic right is easy because it is located along of the brachiocephalic artery. Brachiocephalic left, it is individual. And it is longer, narrow, and it has, do you see, horizontal position. Do you see? Brachiocephalic right, it is shortly, wider, and so vertical position. Do you see? And these are two branches, brachiocephalic right, brachiocephalic left veins, they connect, and also into the superior vena cava opens isogous vein. Isogous vein. Look please here, this is, do you see, visit of the isogous vein. Do you see? Here is isogous vein. Do you see? You can see here isogous vein, here do you see, collects the intercostal posterior veins. But for your understanding, I want to recollect the following. Give me your look. Look please here. You can see this abdomen and anterior abdominal wall and thoracic wall. Here will be diaphragm. Here will be, do you see, vertebral column. Do you see? You can see. Here will be inferior vena cava. You can see joins to the vertebral column. It is formed by two iliac common veins. And look, you can see from posterior wall of the abdominal cavity will open into the inferior vena cava lumbar veins. We have direction, next time, in one lesson later, we'll start direction to the posterior wall for lumbar arteries on each side. And we have opposite way of the 8 lumbar veins. Each line, this will be one vein. Do you see? And these veins open into the inferior vena cava. This is inferior vena cava. Do you see? But what will be in front of? Intestine. Sometimes by abnormal function, there can be meteorism, it can be storing of the gases. Sometimes the food can stop in the intestine. Sometimes can be a tumor of the mesenterium, and inferior vena cava can be pressed. Listen to me. You can see from lower lumbar vein begins vein which like bridge connects all another veins. Do you see? This will be ascending lumbar right. Here on opposite side will be ascending lumbar left. You can see here will be what? Heart. Here will be superior vena cava, which is formed, do you see, by brachiocephalic veins. Do you see? You can see ascending vein, ascending lumbar vein comes, do you see, and opens into the, do you see, superior vena cava. You can see three roots: brachiocephalic, left, right, and isthmus. What will be hemiisthmus? Hemiisthmus will go up, will cross to the opposite side, and will open, do you see, into the isthmus. Isthmus is translated anter. Anter. Hemiisthmus is an anter. Why? It doesn't bring blood directly into the superior vena cava. It at first gives this blood into the isthmus, and after that, this blood will come into superior vena cava. Do you see? And listen to me. Isthmus and hemiisthmus veins, they will drenate, do you see here, the walls of the thoracic cavity, intercostal posterior veins. Here, do you see, will be intercostal posterior left veins. Also, the organs of the thoracic cavity will drainate into this and into this. Did you understand? You can see this isthmus and hemiisthmus veins, but isthmus comes concretely into the superior vena cava, the hemiisthmus crosses. Look please here. Excuse me. Look please here. Do you see? This is isthmus. You can see how it comes. Do you see? And listen to me. Now I will take. Here will be hemiisthmus. Do you see? Here is hemiisthmus. It opens into the isthmus. Do you see? Yeah. You can see we drenated with you what? Organs and walls of the thoracic cavity. Another veins. I want to say you on the lecture, I will recollect you the number of the veins in our organism into half times more than the number of the arteries. The veins, they have thinner, so soft walls. Look please here. Do you see this is the artery? Do you see this is vein? Do you see it is closed? Do you see? Why? Here very thinner or absent elastic membranes because they don't produce resistance. Do you see? And the veins which are placed on the walls of the body, on the upper and on the lower limbs, and the diameter of which will be lesser than the 5 millimeters, they are placed by two along of the same artery. Did you understand? This is one moment by which the number of the veins is more than the number of the arteries. Some veins, they are placed along of the nerves because in these regions are absent arteries. For example, the skin of the upper and of the lower limbs is drenated by special veins, and arteries along of them are not present. Do you see? You can see. And another, on the neck we have, and on the head we have some extra veins. Listen to me, you can see carotid common artery. Do you see? Along of it opposite directs, jugular internal vein. Where we took the jugular internal vein? By last semester you studied drainage of the brain. On the brain, the biggest vascular net, vein net, arterial too, but for us now is important vein net, and very often into the spaces between layers of the dura mater, which are called sinuses, the veins open from this common net. Do you see? This space, veins, they include muscular tissue. And sometimes by stress, by some disease, veins can contract and we can stop the blood. Do you see the way stop the blood? And listen to me also, inside in the veins are placed, do you see, valves? Can be diseases of the valves. For example, fibrinogen will store on the valves and will close the way. Because at first we have many ways. If the some of them will be closed, the some of them will direct blood into the spaces or sinuses of the dura mater. The sinuses, these are only spaces, the walls of which every time I expand, and also here are not valves, because this is very easy for the very free exit of the blood from there. Did you understand? But the sinuses, one connect into another, another connect into the another, and the last sinus which collected blood from all another sinuses, this will be sigmoid sinus. Sigmoid sinus comes to the jugular opening, and from lower part, border of the jugular opening begins jugular internal vein. Besides collection of the blood from jugular, from cranial cavity, from brain, you can see into it will open facial vein, lingual vein, thyroid superior vein, thyroid medial vein. Listen to me again. The endocrine glands, they have very best blood supply. Do you remember? They get blood by more than the one artery. Yes?
Yes.
And listen to me. And the number of the veins is more than the number of the arteries, and the some veins have individual position, individual way. Why? Because endocrine glands, they produce regulation function. Yes? And the dioxygen, it is a venom for the epithelial cells. And because for us it's very important to take out this venom very fastly. And you can see we have thyroid superior, thyroid inferior arteries, we have thyroid superior, thyroid medial, thyroid inferior veins, and also thyroid ima vein, which opens into the what? Into the brachiocephalic cleft. Why? It has horizontal position, and the ima is placed vertically and opens into the brachiocephalic cleft directly. Did you see? You can see. But, my dear, also here we have the any another. We have temporal superficial vein and temporal deep vein. These two veins, by the exit behind of the mandible, connect, and when the temporal superficial and temporal deep, or in some books you will see temporal medial, when they connect, this common, their continuation is called retromandibular vein, behind of the mandible. Temporal superficial and temporal deep, or temporal medial, they connect, and when here will be common their bundle, will be retromandibular. And very often, facial vein can open into the retromandibular. Do remember, we studied with you the anterior, medial, and posterior groups of the branches of the carotid external artery. Do you remember? You can see more of anterior branches. Do you see? They are along of them are placed veins, and they will bring blood into the jugular internal vein. Do you see? Also, from, do you see, temporal region, do you see? And do you remember we studied with you maxillary artery? Yes. 3 regions, mandible, pterygoid, and pterygoid or infratemporal sphenopalatine. Around of this maxillary is very biggest net, pterygoid plexus. Pterygoid plexus. How this pterygoid plexus is formed? By visit from all objects which were supplied by branches of the carotid external artery, the same nerves. Do you see? They will complete. Да, я, Александр, тебе еще ничего не могу сказать, но я тебе скажу, потому что я еще на занятиях никуда не выходила. Я сейчас поднимусь и скажу в приемную комиссию. Это будет где-то минут через 40. Here will be pterygoid plexus. And from pterygoid plexus, here will be very, very biggest plexus. I will show it maybe on the scheme in museum. And listen to me, from this pterygoid plexus will begin two very short maxillary veins, and they will open into the retromandibular vein. Do you understand? Listen to me. If you remember, carotid external artery by posterior branches supplied the dorsal side. Sternocleidomastoid, auricularis posterior, occipitalis. The same branches will collect into the vein. Here it is scattered, do you see? Which is called jugular external. It will open into the subclavian vein. And in front of, do you see? If you will look, come to me, you, or you, show me your neck, come to me, come to me, come to me. Listen to me. Also here we have so superficial, no, stand and take up your hand. And you can see, do you see? You can see projection of the some veins. Maybe on my neck you can see the veins. Do you see? Very often, here, do you see? No, here you can see, do you see? Very often, these veins are contrast, sometimes not. They begin from submental region, from skin here, because muscles were generated into the lingual vein. Do you remember? By sublingual vein into the lingual vein. Skin here will be generated by jugular anterior vein. Listen to me. Very often we have jugular anterior right, jugular anterior left. They come to the hyoid bone, and below they enter into the interaponeurotic space of the neck. Interaponeurotic space is placed between superficial lamin of the propria fascia and between deep lamin. Do you remember? This is sternum. Here sternocleidomastoid muscle. Do you remember? Here starts superficial lamin. Here from back begins sternothyroid, sternothyroid. Here begins and gives them the codes, the deep lamin of the propria fascia. And why the space is called interaponeurotic? Sternocleidomastoid right has one tender from sternum, another from clavicle. This is right. Another one tender, another tender. Here, sternothyroid, sternohyoid, sternothyroid, sternohyoid. Do you remember? On the lecture by last semester, I explained you. If the tender for the narrow muscle, it is called tender. If the tender for the wide muscle, it is called aponeurosis. You can see one tender, another, like collection of the tendons. And here, because space will be interaponeurotic. Do you see? And the distance of the space, it accords what? Ticket of the manubrium of the sternum. Do you see? And you can see it goes into this space. We have right and left, and above them the jugular or sternal notch. These, do you see, right and left have bridges. They are called cervical arc or cervical arcs. Did you understand? But 20% of the people, they have one jugular anterior vein. When it comes below, above than the jugular notch, it divides into the right leg and left leg, and they will come into the subclavian veins. Into the subclavian veins. Sometimes jugular anterior and jugular external will connect and will open by common bundle into the vein, sometimes individual. But veins, they have many different positions, different variants. Did you understand? In our organs. Arteries, they are so constantly. Veins, they are individual. Did you understand? I explained you the very often classic situation. Did you understand?
Yes.
My dear, for today, that's all. Did you understand? Yes. On Monday, not on Tuesday, I will explain you the nerves. On Tuesday, we will have a lecture about veins and general veins anastomosis. And on Tuesday, after my explanation of the nerves, I will ask you about vessels. Do you understand? Concretely about arteries. And some words about venous. Do you understand? That's all.